We're starting Shabbat on the most sacred night of the year. Tonight we come into account with our souls. And I invite you to leave the conversation that you were having outside and to switch into the mood of the sacred space that we try to create together with our voices, with our intentions, with our prayers. Let's switch the 100 conversations that we were having into one that we can hold and create together. Please join us. I now prepare to unify my whole self, heart, mind, consciousness, body, passions, with this holy community, with the Jewish people everywhere, and with all people everywhere, with all life and being. Commune with the source of all being. May I find the words, the music, the movements that will put me in touch with the great light of God. May the ranks of insight and joy that I reach in my devotion flow from me to others and fill all my actions in the world. May the beauty of God rest upon us. May God establish the works of our hands, and may the works of our hands establish God. I invite you to let the melody of Kol Nidre guide your intentions, and I invite you to a silent meditation while listening and sitting to the arrangement for Kol Nidre. loving God, grant us the wisdom to understand something of the awesome complexity of the times in which we live, so that we can better grasp what is wanted of us. Grant us the integrity to be honest with ourselves on this Kol Nidre Eve and the rest of the evenings of the year, so that we can face who we really are. Grant us the courage to do battle with the corrosive forces that will make us little people living little lives, meshing little problems. Help us forge the links of faith necessary to risk creative living, a gentle conviction that can be redirected if we are shown to be wrong, and the commitment necessary to give, to breathe, to build, to sing, and to love. Embrace and elevated by that sense of commitment, let us rise for Kol Nidre. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. Light is sown for the righteous and for the upright of heart joy. בישיבה שלמעלה ובישיבה שלמטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים. As in heaven, so it is here. As God permits, so do we. No matter what our sins, no matter how we have strayed, we pray together tonight as one community, בישיבה שלמעלה ובישיבה שלמטה. על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים. I'm on page 188. All the vows, promises, and oaths that we make with God, all the obligations and restrictions we place on ourselves in God's name, all the harsh things we say only to regret them, the things we promise and forget, the punishments we call down on ourselves from heaven, the deals we bargain with God in a moment of duress, the good-hearted resolutions we cannot fulfill after honest effort, For all of this, from this Yom Kippur to the next, we request release. May they be dissolved and annulled. These vows shall not be binding vows. These prohibitions shall not be binding prohibitions. These oaths shall not be binding oaths.
Betelin und bevutalin. Nidrana la nidre. Shevu hasana, la shevu.
May there be forgiveness for the entire congregation of Israel and all who live among them, for all the people have sinned. We're on page 189. Benislach lechol edat bnei Israel v'lager agar v'tocham ine chol העם בשגגה. And God said, I forgive you as you have asked. ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך. ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך. ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך. ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כדבריך. And God said, I forgive you as you have asked. And then we learn that forgiveness, you need to ask. You need to actually say that. And once we have achieved this moment, we realize the time in our lives in which we have put these vows behind us, and we can commit again. We can find new commitments. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Return the Torahs to the ark. כנרות. The image of the empty ark is like the emptiness that we try to find ourselves in order to bring Torah back to our lives. So we take the Torahs out, but then we assure that we live a life with Torah, not just inside the ark, but well kept in our hearts. You will see that we're going to light the candles of this Shabbat. It happens to be also Yom Kippurim. So we say first Shabbat and then Yom Kippurim. First the Tadir and later the Nadir. First the thing that happens every week and then special events. You can find the candle blessing on page 190.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת ושל יום הכיפורים.
Amen. May the light of these candles fill our lives with light. Shabbat Shalom. You can say Shabbat Shalom, come on. Should we sing that? We're going to sing that. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Again, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Now, yes, good Shabbos and Gmar Chatima Tova. It is a custom when it's Shabbat and Yom Kippur to start the service by singing one of the psalms. So we thought that it will be a great idea to sing one of the psalms of Shabbat. We usually sing Mizmor Shir LeYom HaShabbat, but today we want to sing a different part of Mizmor Shir LeYom HaShabbat. The words are very simple. We're on page 191. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. And if that is too long, you can say just Hallelujah. Let's try that. Hallelujah. מעשה חיי מעולם קומה שבותיך מה גדול מעשה חיי הללויה מעולם קומה שבותיך מה גדול מעשה חיי מעולם קומה שבותיך הללויה. Shabbat Shalom. And now let's get started with our service with Ma'ariv Shel Yom HaKippurim Shel Shabbat. We are on page 193. Please rise. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of all being, by whose word the evening falls. In wisdom you open heaven's gate. With understanding you make the seasons change, causing the times to come and go, and ordering the stars on their appointed paths throughout heaven's dome, all according to your will.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שבו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים
We are on page 196. Avat Olam, with eternal love, you love your people Israel.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אוקיין, 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 אדוני אלוהינו. בשוכבנו, בשוכבנו, ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת.
ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. אהבת עולם
בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת.
כי הם חיינו
באורך
ואורך ימינו בהם נגערים כיומם ולילה.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. Please join me on page 197. We are loved by unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on
by eyes that meet us,
even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by unending love. Embrace, touch, soothe, and counsel.
Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by unending love.
באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברכו ברוך שמו, אוהב עמו ישראל. I invite you to close your eyes and to cover your face. I remind you that today is Yom Kippur, and we are like angels. And we sing the second part of the Shema today out loud, and during the entire day of Yom Kippur. I invite you to think about your breath for a second, your breathing for a second. Take a deep breath to join me for the Shema. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. We're on page 198. Let's chant together.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך
ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה
אשר אנוכי מצווך
היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על משושות ביתך ובשעריך.
And hear my directions, which I give you today, for loving Yah, who is your God, and acting godly with feeling and inspiration. Your earthly needs will be met at the right time, appropriate to the season. You will reap what you have planted for your delight and health. Also, your animals will have ample feed. All of you will eat and be content.
Be careful, watch out. Don't let your cravings delude you. Don't become alienated. Don't let your cravings become your gods. Don't debase yourself to them, because the God sense within you will become distorted. Heaven will be shut to you. Grace will not descend. Earth will not yield her produce. Your rushing will destroy you, and earth will not be able to recover her good balance in which God's gifts manifest.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with the silent reading over page 202. When we saw your power, we thank and praise your name. Full of joy, Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang, "Who is like you, O God, Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai," on page 203.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקר יום לפני משה ומרים, זה לינו ואמרו, אדוני
ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מירחצק ממנו, Baruch atah Adonai, God Israel.
Amen. After the blessing for our possibility to pass through obstacles, after the blessing for redemption, after Mi kamocha, we sing the blessing for our inner peace. We try to find a shelter of peace. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom. You can join us on page 204.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, leShalom.
ברוך אתה אדוני, שומר עמו ישראל לעד. On page 206, the Shamru Bnei Israel will remember our trans-generational covenant to keep Shabbat as a part of our lives. And we also remember that was Shabbat what kept us alive for many, many, many years. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברצונם איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נחש כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לתאר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני לפני אדוני תצעדו היי 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 Separating this piece of Mariv, the piece of the Shema Israel, and just before we get into Tfilat Amidah, into the prayer that invites us to connect with our deep desires, you can find on page 208, Hetzi Kaddish.
ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיידכו בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו
Amen. יש מרב מבורך לעולם ולא בעלמיה
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמר קודשה בריחו לעילה ולעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
ושבחתה ונחמתה דמה מירה אלמה ואמרו אמן. We're on page 210 for Tfilat Amidah. Please rise. I want to make a point. We rise and we sit a 1,000 times during Yom Kippur, and many of you are fasting. Now, you can rise in your spirit. And if you don't feel good, please don't. Just make sure that you're aware of your body and don't torture yourself. I promise you that it's going to be okay with your fails, with all of them. And you might have a better experience. So be aware of yourself. Now, please rise. However you feel like. On page 210 for Tfilat Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברכו בר שמו.
מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אמן. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד אתה. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים,
צומח נופלים ברופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך מימית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
מי
כמוך אהב הרחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אמן. אתה קדוש בשמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום. Hallelujah, Selah, you are holy, and your name is holy, and holy ones praise you always. Selah. And so, my friend, and concern being instilled in all living beings, deep concern for all created. All creation should be in awe, all of life humble before you. May all of creation form a single bond to do your will. We know that you alone rule, that your strength is justice, and your awesome being transcends all which you have created. And so may honor be granted to your people, praise to those who feel awe, hope to those who seek you, and voice sincere yearnings. May there be joy throughout the land, and joyfulness for the inhabitants of your city. May the light of joy and justice shine forth in our lifetime. And so, when such a day arrives, those who struggle for justice will be the first to rejoice. The upright will be glad. The faithful will sing with joy. Injustice will close its mouth. Evil will vanish like smoke. Falsehood will depart from the earth.
ותמלוך אתה אדוני לבדך, כל מעשיך, בהר ציון משכן כבודך, ובירושלים עיר קודשך, ככתוב בדברי קודשך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון דור ודור, הללויה.
אתה קדוש אתה באנורה שמך בין אלוה מלבדך ככתוב ויקבע אדוני צבאות במשפט באל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש. אתה בחרתנו עם כל העמים אהבת אותנו, רצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל הלשונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקרבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך. בשמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת, ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבת יום הכיפורים הזה, מקרא קודש שכל ליציאת מצרים. page 216, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, יעלה ויבוא ויגיע ויעלה, וירצה וישמע, ויפקוד ויזכר זיכרוננו בגדוננו, וזיכרון אבותינו ואמותינו, בזיכרון משיח בן דוד, עבדך, וזיכרון ירושלים מקודשך, וזיכרון כל עמך בית ישראל לפניך, לבריתה ולטובה, לכן לחסד ולרחמים, לחיים ולשלום, ביום הכיפורים הזה. We continue with silent reading over page 217. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Page 218. ותהל ליבנו לעובדך, 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 ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש השבת בישראל ביום הכיפורים. We continue in silence until the bottom of page 220. book of life, blessing, peace, and of making a good living. May we be remembered and written before you, us and all of your people in our communities, for a good life and for peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, maker of peace.
בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה נזכר בניקתך
So I want to share with you a little bit about the nature of this night. So how do we call this service? Kol Nidre. But the truth is that Kol Nidre, when we sang Sheheyanu, was done. This service has a couple of pieces, and all of them are very important. The first thing that we do is Kol Nidre. But Kol Nidre is just the first part of our service. And our service has the name of that first piece, which is really, really, really important and emblematic. Then we did Ma'ariv, the evening service that we do every day, and of course in holidays, and of course in Shabbat. And this Ma'ariv is very special because it has, in Yom Kippurim, the Day of Atonement, two more pieces. One is Slichot, prayers of forgiveness. And the other one is, Vidui, confession. These two pieces are very special and have very different characteristics. The first one, Slichot, we try to open a conversation with God, however you define God, and we remind that God that He's a graceful God, and He should remember us and forgive us, and that we have a relationship. And if you take a look at the pieces that we're reading, you will see that. And that part of the service is very outgoing. Some of the songs are very upbeat also, because we are trying to to connect with the divine grace. It's a joyful side of the divine existence. But then, during the confession, the conversation changes. And you'll see that the confession is in we. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. For the sin that we have committed in front of you. Because somehow it helps us to listen and to hear the presence of the community. There might not be your specific chataim, your specific sins, your specific wrongdoings. But we check anyway. And we go through an internal list. And we try to find where we, where you, where I have strayed, have made mistakes. And we try to think about that during this day of Yom Kippurim, but during the entire year. The particular thing of Yom Kippur is that we open the big question of which kind of life we want to live and how we want to continue. We believe that the gates of heaven are open, so we have the opportunity to enter into a different world. We have the opportunity to change and to transform ourselves. So the sense of joy comes because it's a great opportunity, but also some pain, because recognizing our wrongdoings and recognizing that what can we do? We are not perfect. It's also painful. So with this mixture of tastes between joy and between the painful reality that we are not perfect and that we have sinned, we start the Slichot service. And I'd like to invite you to open your Machzor on page 361. page 224, Yale Tachanunenu, may prayers rise. Chatenu mi boker beyavos li chatenu mi boker Adenu chatenu בערב ביבוא עדננו מבוקר ביבוא עדננו מבוקר ביערתנו 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 Master of Forgiveness, Master of Repentance. On page 226, Adon Aslichot. Adon Aslichot, Bochen Levavot, Gole Hamukot, Dover Tzedakot, Chatanu lefanecha, Rachem aleinu. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. ההדור בנפלאות, ותיק בנחמות, סוחר בריתות, חוקר כליות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. טוב ומיטיב לבריות, יודע כל נסתרות, כובש עוונות, לובש צדקות. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. Try the melody just. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ay la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la We're on page 227, and it's customary to stand at this part of the service. So you might rise. Rise, don't have to stand. We read the 13 attributes of the divine, Adonai, Adonai, God of mercy and grace, patient, loving, and faithful, who extends love to the 1,000th generation, forgiving transgression, rebellion, and sin, and granting pardon.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Noser avon ba'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Noseh avon ba'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Noseh avon ba'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Hear our voice, Adonai, our God. Be merciful with us and accept our prayer. Return us, Adonai, to you, and we will be returned. Renew our days as in days of old. We're on page 338. Shema Kolenu.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim uv'ratzon et tefilateinu. Ashivenu Adonai elecha v'noshuva, Chadesh, Chadesh yameinu kekedesh.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, v'kavel berachamim uv'ratzon et tefilateinu. Ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh yameinu kekedem. Once again, Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus berachem aleinu Ekavel merachamim וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. קדש ימינו cast us away. Do not take your Holy Spirit from us. Do not cast us away in our old age when our strength is gone. Do not abandon us, because we are your people and you are our Father. On page 339, Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu. Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu. Anu, you may be seated. Edecha ve'ata Eharinu. Anu abdecha ve'ata Adonenu. Anu ze'alecha ve'ata Adonenu. be seated. I tried to let you sit during this piece of the prayer. For some reason, is my microphone working well? Yeah, so some of you heard that. But I said you might be seated. But you know what's going to happen now? I was giving you that one. That one. And now I might read something in the middle. No, we are about to start the vidui, the confession. And we stand for the confession. But before we rise, I want to invite you to think about your personal confession. You know, many people, sometimes when I have conversations about Yom Kippur, tell me, I haven't done all these things. This is not for me. So they look at the list and say, well, it's not my business. I'm fine. Thank you, but not thank you. So you can leave, but this is not a list of your wrongdoings. This is an invitation for you, for us, to think about our wrongdoings. You know, your stuff might not be in this list, but this list might be the inspiration to think about your own stuff. So when you come into a confession and while you are touching your heart or knocking in your heart, or think about what you need to take to your heart. You know, Somet Lev in Hebrew, to give heart, to pay attention, is to give heart. So think about the things that require for you to give your heart and to open your mind. Now, please rise for the confession on page 340. O God and God of our ancestors, accept our prayer and do not hide from us. We are not so hard-hearted and stiff-necked to say before you, Adonai, that we are righteous and pure. Rather, we confess that we have sinned.
Kishinu hore, la la la
Rashanum, Shichadnu, Tiyavnu, Tahinu, Titanu, Please join me. We have abused, betrayed, conspired, deceived, endangered, flattered, gossiped, hated, insulted, jeered, kept grudges, lied, mocked, neglected, oppressed, perverted, quarreled, rebelled, stolen, threatened, undermined, vilified, wasted, and yielded to temptation. I want to invite you to continue in silence for one more minute and establish your own conversation. La 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la la. On page 232. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב.
For the sin we have sinned against you under duress and by choice, and for the sin we have sinned against you by hardness of heart.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בביטוי שפתיים.
For the sin we have sinned against you without knowing, and for the sin we have sinned against you in our speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי ובסתר.
For the sin we have sinned against you by public immorality, and for the sin we have sinned against you openly and privately.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ובמרמה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה.
For the sin we have sinned against you with knowledge and with deceit, and for the sin we have sinned against you by speaking harshly.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב.
For the sin we have sinned against you by wronging a friend, and the sin we have sinned against you in our deepest thoughts.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך במידת צנות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בביזוי פה.
For the sin we have sinned against you through immodesty, and the sin we have sinned against you through insincerity.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בסלסול הורים ומורים, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בסדון ובשגגה.
For the sin we have sinned against you by contempt for teachers and parents, and the sin we have sinned against you willfully or unintentionally.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוסק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחילול השם.
For the sin we have sinned against you in the abuse of power, and for the sin we have sinned against you in failing to live up to your name.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטומאת שפתיים, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה.
For the sin we have sinned against you with defiling speech, and for the sin we have sinned against you with foolish talk.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
For the sin we have sinned against you by giving into evil impulses, and the sin we have sinned against you by harming both strangers and friends.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, קבל לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, סלח לנו מחלנו, קבל לנו. We continue in silence between pages 234 until the bottom of page 236. לפניך ואין רמות ברכת שכתנו לפניך, בטח. השיחות לנו והרכת שכתנו לפניך. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשבועת שווא, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם.
For the sin we have sinned against you with insincere promises, and for the sin we have sinned against you with baseless hatred.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצומד יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בתימון הלבב.
For the sin we have sinned against you by failing to lend a hand, and for the sin we have sinned against you by failing to give our heart.
O merciful one who answers those in need, answer us. O merciful one who answers the brokenhearted, answer us. We're on page 239 for Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu ein lanu melech el ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have no ruler but you.
Avinu Malkeinu chadesh aleinu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew us for a good year. We're on page 242.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu,
Kol
Malkeinu, Chaleder, Vecher verav, Me'aleinu,
Avinu Malkeinu,
Chalek Hosar, Umastin, Me'aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu,
Kotvenu besefer Chaim tovim, Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu ve'aneinu, ki emanu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, be'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu ve'aneinu, ki emanu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, be'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, be'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu. You may be seated. We are on page 245 for Kaddish Shalem.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי תכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב והימרו אמן יהי שמי
שמי דקודשה לאלה ולאלה מן כובחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ואמה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ואמה והימרו אמן תתקבל צלת ההוד ובאות ההוד דכו ישראל קדם אבוהון דיבי שמיה דיבי שמיה דיבי שמיה והימרו אמן יהי שלום הבא מן שמיה וחיים וחיים עלינו עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל ועל כל ישראל והימרו אמן אמן עושה שלום בברמה ויעשי שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל והימרו אמן אמן אמן. You said take my things.
Shabbat Shalom. So we spoke in Rosh Hashanah about this wonderful idea of sharing one podium that we are really sharing. So there are lots of papers here that all of a sudden don't belong to me. חתימה טובה ושנה טובה, everyone. I once heard the following story. It was one of those years when baseball World Series coincided with Yom Kippur. A man, a good Jew, was having a serious spiritual crisis. So, yeah, we spoke about that, Kevin, 2 years ago when I came to visit Fullerton. I'll get there in a second. I see Kevin so happy. The first time I heard about the story I'm going to share, not the first one, the second one, the third one, was from Kevin. We'll get there. We'll get there, Koi. So this guy was having a spiritual crisis. So he went to his rabbi and said, I know that Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year, and that the Kol Nidre prayer is something every Jew tries to attend. But this year, there is a crucial game on television that same night, and I don't know what to do. The rabbi didn't get upset. Instead, he said, that's what they invented DVRs for. The congregant replied in a joyful amazement, you mean I can't record Kol Nidre? So, you have no idea what we deal with. In 1910, Rabbi Solomon Schechter, the second president of the Jewish Theological Seminary, JTS in New York, and the founder of the conservative movement, allegedly told his rabbinical student, remember this, unless you can play baseball, you will never get to be a rabbi in America. So, I have no idea. So, I don't know a lot about baseball, but I have enough information to ask you a very simple question. Where was Sandy Koufax on Yom Kippur morning 52 years ago? Even though many rabbis claim that he was at their services, the truth is that nobody really knows. What we all know is where he was not. Koufax declined to pitch Game 1 of the World Series because of his observance of Yom Kippur. In his autobiography, published the following year, he wrote, "There was never any decision to make because there was never any possibility that I would pitch. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the Jewish religion. The club knows I don't work that day." Koufax repeated his rationale over the next years. "I had taken Yom Kippur off for 10 years. It was just something that I would always done with respect." So, what is this sermon all about? I want to explore with you a very simple idea. In Ethics of Our Parents in the Mishnah on chapter 3, verse 1, we read, "Da me'ayin bata, ule'an ata olech, ulifnei mi ata atid lated din becheshbon." Know from where you came, where you are going, and before whom you are destined to give a judgment and accounting. This sermon is about identity. Know from where you are coming, which means what is your narrative, and where you are going, meaning what are the choices that guide your way. Let's start with the narrative. The Torah in general, and the book of Genesis in particular, is a story that came to challenge the understanding of humanity at the time. By placing man in the center of the creation, Torah creates a narrative of human responsibility toward the world and its creatures. The most important mitzvah of Passover is to narrate it to your children, to our children. Be'igatta lebincha. God introduces himself in the Ten Commandments with a story. Ani Adonai Elohecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim. It goes slower in English. I am Adonai, your God, who took you out from the land of Egypt. A story. Thus, it introduces the narrative of redemption, of empathy, and of the recognition of human suffering. Our identities are sustained by our narratives. There is a story that I used to share with my students when I was a counselor in Argentina almost 20 years ago. This story is about a little boy who got lost in a store. When the manager found out, he took him by the hand and asked, "What's your name?" For a second, he kept crying. "What is your name?" he repeated. "Dan Segal," he replied. And when he said his name, something wonderful happened to him. Suddenly, he felt good. He knew his name. He was somebody. Saying his name made him feel safe and centered again. He wasn't lost because he knew who he was. A few days later, something that happened at school reminded Dan of that incident. Dan was in class studying about America. The teacher asked each of the students to say something about the countries of their respective parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents. Someone talked about Holland, another about Ireland, and so on. Then the teacher called Moshe Samuels, who, to her surprise, did not get up. The teacher looked at him for a moment and said, "Well, Moshe, don't you have something interesting to tell us? You are Jewish, aren't you?" Dan looked at Moshe and noticed that his friend felt as he did that day in the store. He was blushing, and his eyes were wet. Then Dan was called on. He started by explaining that the word Jewish comes from Judah, and that he was one of the sons of Jacob. He explained that that name has represented throughout the Jewish history, and he also shared a few more things that he was taught in the synagogue. How the Jewish people have been delivered from the Egyptians, and how we had observed the Ten Commandments and the sacred festivities. When he sat down again, he felt the same way he had felt in the store when he remembered his name. And he was able to utter it loud and clear. He was filled with tranquility and confidence. Later, Dan wrote, "Now I wonder if a person can get lost knowing his name and his address perfectly well. I wonder if a person needs more than his name in order to identify himself. I wonder if there is another kind of name, an inner name, that arises from knowing who we are and where we come from. My inner name is Jewish, and I think I am fortunate to know it. When you know your name, you can't get lost. When you know your name, you become someone." Our identities are sustained by our narratives. Dr. Marshall Duke and Dr. Robin Fibush from Emory University discovered something amazing about personal narratives. They noticed that students who know a lot about their families tend to face challenges better. So they developed a measure called the Do You Know scale. They asked children 20 different questions, such as, let's raise your hands and see what you know. Do you know where your grandparents grew up? Raise your hands. Do you know where your mom and dad went to high school? Do you know where your parents met? Do you know an illness or something really terrible that happened to your family? Do you know the story of your birth? Not that one. The more children knew about their family's history, both the good and the bad, the stronger their sense of control over their lives, the higher their self-esteem, and the more successfulully they believe their families function. They prove to be more resilient by being able to moderate the effects of stress. One of the most important things that you can offer to your family, maybe the simplest of develop a strong family narrative. Develop a strong family narrative. The researchers explain the results by stressing the importance of the child's sense of being part of a larger family. The children who have the most self-confidence have what they call a strong intergenerational self. They know they belong to something bigger than themselves. From here, we learn that our narratives also give us emotional support and strength. We understand that da me'ayin bata, know where you come from, is an essential question in our lives. Now, let's explore לאן אתה הולך, where you are going. As I said, the where you are going has to do with the choices that you make. The sum of your choices says something about who we are. How do I become the person that I want to be? How do I become a good father, brother, son, husband, or friend? How should I embrace my Jewish identity? The profound desire of being what we want to be is always challenged by making the choices that bring that desire to the realm of life. In this complex context, I find thought-provoking the ideas of Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik in his book, The Lonely Man of Faith. Soloveitchik says, there are two sides of our nature, which he called Adam 1 and Adam 2. Adam 1 is the worldly, ambitious, external side of our nature. He wants to build and to create. Adam 2 is the humble side of our nature. Adam 2 wants not only to do good, but to be good, to live in a way internally that honor God, creation, and our possibilities. Adam 1 savors accomplishment. Adam 2 savors inner consistency and strength. Adam 1 asks how things work. Adam 2 asks why we are here. And Soloveitchik argued that these two sides of our nature are at war with each other. We live in perpetual self-confrontation between the external success and the internal value. We happen to live in a society that favors Adam 1 and often neglects Adam 2. And the problem is that turns you into someone who treats life as a game, and you become a cold, calculating creature who slips into sort of mediocrity where you realize there is a difference between your desired self and your actual self. You don't have commitment to tasks who would take more than a lifetime to commit. Making choices is a constant battle between these two deep-rooted forces. The challenge is to question our intuitive decisions and reactions with the perspective of the self that we would like to be. Any meaningful legacy that we pass on to our families is the product of hard work, conviction, and consistency. What are the songs, the food, the stories that tell about who you are? What are the choices that you have made that can tell about your essence? In 1945, Rabbi Eliezer Silver had the search for thousands of displaced Jewish children across Europe. They had been hidden from the clutches of the Nazis in farms, convents, and monasteries. And now he sought to return them to their families, if at all possible. The rabbi had a promising lead with a report that the monastery in southern France had taken in Jewish children. But the priest in church was little help, declaring that to his knowledge, all of their children were Christians. And Rabbi Silver could produce no records. Schwartz, Kaufmann, Schneider, these family names were obviously German, but they could be either Jewish or Gentile. He scanned their small faces. Many had lived there since they were toddlers. How could he know if any of them were from Jewish families? So he asked if he could visit again at bedtime. When he returned at night, in front of the children, he began singing in Hebrew, Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And a handful of faces lit up, remembering the prayer that had once been a part of their bedtime ritual. Many children in the room covered their eyes and started crying and calling out for their mothers. We are all sometimes lost. And we feel exactly like the kid in the mall or like the kid in the classroom. Sometimes like the kids in the orphanage. We don't know how lost we are. We live in a confusing world. And the experience of being lost happens in a variety of places and moments. That's why we need to make sure that we carry in our baggage the narratives and the tools that will help us remember from where we are coming and where we want to go. We want to have the emotional strength to live meaningful lives. We want to have the tools to be able to say things like, today is Yom Kippur and I don't work. Or in other words, these are my limits. And if I go beyond them, I will distance myself from the self that they want to be. We want to hold the narrative that reminds us that we are Jews, that our story and history are about redemption of the oppressed and about human empathy. We want to close our eyes and to hear the loving voices of our parents. We want our children to close their eyes and to perceive our love. We want to experience the power of an intergenerational self that connects us with our inner name. May we have the love, the patience, and the consistency to repeat again and again our stories and to pass on their strength. May we have the courage to question our choices and to embrace the person that we want to be. May this 5778 reaffirm in us the bravery to be who we are, to remember where we come from, and to truly, truly choose where we want to go. Chatima Tova. Henry? I'd like to invite Henry Cohen, the president of our congregation, for a shorter speech.
Thank you, Rabbi Nico. Thank you, Rabbi. We on? Thank you, Rabbi Nico. And thank you, Brotherhood ushers, Sisterhood for the beautiful flowers, High Holiday volunteers, professional staff, musicians, and members of the choir. So nice to see you up there. And thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. I have to say, before we move on from the rabbi's words, the choices that we're asking you to make on a more basic level, more financial level, and I spoke about them before, but the choices are to support Temple Beth Tikva in a special way on the high holidays. And if you haven't filled out one of these cards, please, I ask you to dig down and make that choice to support us in all the wonderful things that we do. And again, welcome home. After 50 years of praying out for the holidays, we are here together with open doors and a welcoming attitude. So tomorrow, after morning services, the Goldman Quartet will play a beautiful interlude for those who wish to stay here. And after they're finished, then Mitch Goldberg will be leading a usually very interesting discussion group. So if you would like to stay, and this year it's easier to stay because we're home. And I hope you feel at home just staying here with us. Now, I've been talking a lot about all the things that we're doing at Temple. And so I wanted to just go over briefly what's happening in October. Not so much for the details because you can get them in the flyers that are outside. But I just want you to hear the many things that we're doing. So last year we had 20 adult education speakers. 20. This year we've already got 16 lined up, and we've applied for a grant, and we're hoping to get some more. So pick up an adult education brochure outside, and you'll get all those details. There's a Yom Kippur family program tomorrow afternoon, so bring your children so they can join in the Yom Kippur experience for kids at 4:30, not the 3 o'clock that was previously announced. Children will be given dinner, and will participate in our closing Nidre service. And if you weren't here last year for that, it was really special. And this Sunday is the Men's Club Joke Breakfast. And since they wanted to improve the quality of the jokes and the entertainment, they have engaged a magician, Tom Ogden from the Magic Castle, to add to their very sophisticated amusements of the club members. So that's always fun. Next Wednesday, there's a Sukkot dairy potluck and services and a celebration that starts at 6 p.m. Next Friday, there's going to be an art fair under the sukkah in the morning, 9 to 11. So come and see creations by our members and friends. Maybe some things will be for sale or on sale, and refreshments will be served. In the evening, we'll have a Chavaya Shabbat dinner in the sukkah, followed by a family service in the sanctuary. Next Saturday, of course, there'll be Torah study and a youth overnight in the sukkah. Monday, Sisterhood will have its paid-up dinner in the sukkah, and see Bobby Landsman and the flyer for more information. Simchas Torah on the 11th, a pasta dinner in the sukkah, followed by a service celebration in the sanctuary. And of course, we unroll the Torah. And maybe the rabbi can read the whole thing from beginning to end in 10 minutes. But you know what I always enjoyed when we do that is I like to go to a phrase or a paragraph that I know that we all are familiar with and actually see it in the Torah. So that's always an interesting thing to do. Thursday, we have a morning Shacharit and Yisker service. You know, we say Yisker on Yom Kippur, and you're all familiar with that, but there are other holidays where we say it as well, so you might want to come for that. And on Saturday, the 14th, is Pink Shabbat. And I think most of you know that in the observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, that many people, many organizations are having observances like that. So we're collecting names for those we have lost, those who have survived, and those who are fighting. And see Miriam Van Rolt to submit names. And on the 20th, we have TBT's Ark, where you can bring your pets to services. And as we read the story of Noah's Ark, you don't have to bring 2 pets. You can just bring 1. And there's a vegan Shabbat dinner we'll serve.
The service is outdoors, Henry.
Oh, it is outdoors?
It is outdoors.
Okay, well. Okay.
So the ark is pretty open outside.
Yeah. So this is just a small version of what we're doing here. And it takes a lot of work, and the staff and the rabbi do a wonderful job. So come and be part of our community and create your own narrative for your children. One of the most enjoyable things that I did with my kids, if you start them off and start to tell a story about their grandparents or their great-grandparents, they really are interested to know those things. So it's a good way to start a narrative from the present. And so I wish you all a happy new year filled with health and happiness for you and your family. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom again.
We continue our service on page 247 with Aleinu Leshaveach. Please rise and wait for Gabi. Aleinu Leshaveach Adon HaKol Lated Geulah Yotzer Bereshit שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל עוונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ביוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגובי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והאשב אותה אל יראיך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. And at this point of our service, we bring to this space, to this room, to our hearts, the names of dear souls among our congregation that have a yahrzeit this week.
And they are Edward Gross, Irving Kastman, Alan Katz, Max Upperman, Ida Scheinblum, Celia Bolosny, Robert Irwin, Shalom Guterman, Helen Hecht, Julius Reinstein, Francois Schweitzer, David Goldman, Laura Berger, Robert Heskey, Michael Lipsche, Gene Friedman, Herman Goldman, Celia Kagan, Rochelle Lazar, Eddie Bargman, Jim Farris, Saul Frand, and Alan Bernard Glass. And in the Shloshim, the first 30 days following funeral, Maria Zelda Walker, Callie Katz, Honey Weinstein, Jim Atkinson, and Sam Sapira.
If you are doing the first 7 days of mourning, please rise. If you are doing the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise. If you are doing the first year of mourning, please rise. If you have your side this week, please rise. Now you can support our fellows while standing or sitting, while joining us with your voices, your hearts, and your intentions for Mourners Kaddish on page 250. התגדל בהתקדש שמי רבה, מעלמה דברה חירותה, וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך, בישתבח, ביתפאר וביתרומם, ביתנשא, ביתהדר, ביתעלה, ביתהלל, שמי לקודשה, לעילה ולעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה בנחמתה. לאמירם ברמה באמרו אמן. יש לומר רבה מן שמיה. בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May their memories be for a blessing. זיכרונם לברכה. You may be seated. So, very quick reminders. Tomorrow we are starting at 9 a.m. Our Shacharit service. Is that right? And not to be trusted with hours. But 9 a.m. I checked that before I came. So, and I'm coming. And Gaby's coming. So we are going to do our Shacharit service. It's a long service. So come prepared to dedicate the time. To dedicate the time to yourself. You know, sometimes during long services, you are absolutely inside the machzor, davening with all your intentions. And sometimes you put the machzor, the prayer book, on the side for a little while. And you close your eyes and you do different work. And that's great. We have an entire day to daven together. So at 9 a.m., we will get started. East Coast service is at? It's you, David. It's your information. 4 o'clock. And Mincha is starting at 4:30. Neila, 5:30. And I want to encourage you. That's something, from my perspective, a bit funny. Many congregations, they lose everybody by 6:30 because people go out for dinners. So they run away for dinners. The last 30 minutes of an entire day that we are going to daven together, stay here. Don't go anywhere else. You had time to eat and to meet friends the entire year. Don't break the energies. Stay here with us until the very last minute. You know what is the last thing that we sing in Yom Kippur services? What is what are the last words that we say in Yom Kippur? Before, that's a yes, but that's not what we say. Not the last thing that we say. The last thing that we sing is a tikva. It's a tikva. It's the national anthem of Israel, which is the expression of the ultimate hope. It's the reminder that the gates of heaven are open and that redemption is possible. So you want to be here to sing a tikva with us. I want you to be here to sing a tikva with us. So stay with me, or with Gabi. She will be singing a tikva too. And stay with us. Stay with us. We are going to conclude our service. Please rise. Elohei Azman, O God of time. Elohei Hason, O God of vision. Be'Elohei Ha'atzlacha, O God of success. Help us on this most awesome day of the year, on a day in which we search deeply to find out where we have strayed, to be humbled by our limitations, to be embarrassed by where we have misplaced our energies. Help us, O God, on this day to find you and to find the vision of who we should be in your world, what matters, what's important, and to have the courage. Give us the courage, oh God, so that we can not only have prayers, not only have hopes, and not only have dreams, but have lives that live out those hopes and those prayers and those dreams. O God of comfort, please Bring comfort to all those who are missing someone who is not next today this year. May their memory be for a blessing. And may their dreams of who we needed to be left as a legacy to us. May those who are ill find healing. Let our prayers and our lives overflow into this world, which is so desperately needing peace, harmony, and justice. Help us ask to live up to the dream of what we could be. May these next hours of Yom Kippur allow us to go to the deepest place so that we may walk out tomorrow with the strength to change our lives and the strength to change the entire world. Oh, source of being, let the light of your presence fill our lives. May God bless you and protect you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may God bless you with peace. Lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom, yevarchecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, yaher Adonai panav elecha b'chunecha, yitzah Adonai panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom, yevarchecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, yaher Adonai panav elecha b'chunecha, yitzah Adonai panav elecha, v'yasem lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom, v'yasem lecha shalom. May God give us the strength to find peace. Adonai os le'amo iten. Adonai yavarech et amo b'shalom. Shabbat shalom and gmar chatima tova.
Shabbat shalom.
Play, 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 whatever.